Welcome to another episode of the Villa Pride Down Under podcast, an Aston Villa podcast brought to you from Australia. Tes, we're back again, buddy. Back at the games are coming thick and fast now, aren't they?
Yes, they are, but we're also breaking that duck from away defeats. We get a clean sheet at Everton. Didn't quite get the 3-0 score that I was hoping for, but 1-0 will do, and Ollie on the score sheet.
Yeah. It was overall, I'd say it was a pretty decent away performance. Again, we won't jump too far ahead, but we didn't put the game to bed, and only for Calvert-Lewin being a really poor finisher. Thankfully, we managed to get away with 3 points, but I think it would have been an atrocity now if Everton got anything out of that game. I thought for the vast majority of that game we were pretty good, maybe not clinical, but we were pretty good. We'll start at the start. Talking about the lineup. So we had no Leon Bailey. Was that a surprise to you?
Yeah, it was a bit of a surprise to me not to see Leon Bailey. I thought he would have gone with Leon Bailey to start. I know that we just got the new signing in and everything, but I thought it was a bit too early for him to start. It might not even be registered yet. I see what biggest surprise was seeing where Kamara was playing. I think I mentioned in the WhatsApp chat that Kamara looked like he was playing like a right centre back at moments, so that Kashi could move a bit further forward and stuff. So yeah, that surprised me a little bit. Other than that, there wasn't really any surprises. I think I wanted John Duran to start the game, but Ollie did all right when he played. Could have had more chances to score goals. But yeah, he still got his goal, didn't he? And so yeah, pretty good with the lineup. I thought it was going to be pretty much as it was, to be honest. Did you think it was a bit? Was that an expected lineup for you?
No, I actually thought Bailey would start. I didn't think he deserved that, but I actually thought he would. Though I thought when you look back now, I think it was the right call. But just the thing that you're saying about Boubacar Kamara there, that's a system that they played a lot with him before he got injured, where he kind of filled in as the third centre back, so the fullbacks could get further forward out of possession, So yeah, it was good to see them kind of gravitate back to that a fair bit, because before we go any further, what a footballer that man is. He's just, I know we talked about it in the last podcast, but he just gets better and better. Like, he's just every week he's just getting back to that ability that he was showing before his injury, and like his powers of recovery are insane. Like how fast he's got back up to speed. Not only did he come back from the ACL a couple of months early, but also it's like he was never away now. Incredible powers of recovery, and obviously very, not only physically strong, but he must be very mentally strong as well.
He was unbelievable, and I think we were talking about him in the previous podcast, but he's an unbelievable player. And for this game, I actually watched him a little bit more than, you kind of watched the whole game. I looked at the game, but I was paying attention to his positioning and what he was doing on the pitch, and he's looking all the time to see where people are. He just seemed to be everywhere in this game, and what an unbelievable player. I thought he was man of the match by far. Long way. Like, there wasn't anyone even close to him. It would have been nice to see. It would have been nice to see Yuri. I know I talked about this last time. Yuri closer to him when they're playing together. They just seem to have built up a really good relationship, and things seem to flow really nicely with them too. I felt like Tielemans, again, playing that sort of further forward role today, wasn't quite as present as he normally is, but really good player anyway.
Yeah, I thought he was much better this week than he was last week, though. He was involved in a lot more, I thought. And he's making some important tackles from the front as well. But I do get your point. But I actually thought Onana was very good, but I thought they probably should have taken him off, like when he got a yellow card so early, and then it looked like he was going to go. I actually don't think the second foul was a yellow card worthy, but like some refs would give a yellow card for that, and Everton done their absolute best to get him sent off, and rightly so, and rightly so. I mean, you'd want the Villa players to be doing the same if it looks like a second yellow, but I'm surprised he lasted the 90 minutes after that. Like just a game of roulette there that Emery was playing there. But
I honestly thought he was going to be taken off. Like I was like, oh, it's so early in the game as well, and he likes to. I'd like to see him actually stay on his feet a little bit more sometimes. I know he does make some really, really important challenges, and he's got those long legs. But sometimes I'd like to see him stay on his feet a little bit more, just because sometimes there are some late tackles, and he was one tackle away from getting sent off, and we don't need that.
No, we definitely don't need that. But I must say, fair play to him because I actually thought he had a very good game. Shape wise, he was excellent, and he got a bit more freedom around that middle because Kamara was starting to drop back into the into the centre back position. It kind of gave Ronan a lot of the pitch to roam, and Yuri was dropping in to help him out at times as well. So I thought the rotation between the three of them worked really well. JJ Ramsey probably looked somewhere back to his best. He's still not at his best, but he's definitely looking sharper. Probably should have scored in that first half. That's a big chance, and I think you know it too. But Ollie Watkins got his goal after, but that chance he missed when Ashley Young squared the ball back to him, he needs to be taking them. That's a big chance. That's an Ollie Watkins confidence finishes that 9 times out of 10.
Did he have more time? Do you reckon he had still a little bit more time to get in on goal a little bit more to take the shot, or do you think he kind of rushed the shot?
Yeah, I think he had more time, but you can understand why he shoots as well because any striker that sees the goal open up to him like that, they're going to strike, and you never think you're going to have that much time. I mean, obviously, from my coach, I'm like, well, Ollie, why didn't you drop the shoulder, take it around Pickford, and it's a long but like in the heat of the moment, it's like in reality, that's just not that simple. Like as easy as it looks to my coach, it's not that easy, And I do actually think he had the time to go around Pickford because Pickford could only make himself big. Fairness, Pickford, he was decisive. He made his decision to come out very quickly. So, but look, he caught the ball cleanly, and you can see what he was trying to do, curling to that bottom corner. But look, he made up for it. But I think there are chances that he's missed too many of them this season for me. He's not confident, but he's still got 9 goals, so it's really hard to hammer him, And he took his
hammer him.
No, and he took his goal really well. I'm sure we'll get onto it in a minute, but I can't hammer him too much for the chance. But you can understand that is a big chance in a game like that where you have 1-5 away from home and the ball is just squared to you. John Duran scores that. Like I don't care. He lifts it over the keeper. He does something. He
scores that. He definitely scores that. But I think that's Ollie in himself, though. Just at the moment, I think he's rebuilding that confidence. I think he's gone through a period where he's not feeling confident, and he's probably hearing supporters talking about him in podcasts and whatever it is, saying that he's not finishing. And at the moment, John Duran was on fire, and he's firing goals and scoring goals every time he starts, and Ollie's then on the bench for a while. And I think we know what Ollie's like, don't we? We know that he's one of those players that you need to really show a lot of belief in and show him a lot of love a lot of the time for his confidence levels to stay up, because he criticizes himself and he's quite hard on himself, isn't he, when he plays, and you can hear it when he's talking in the media. Afterwards you could hear, and he was happy to get the goal, but then he starts talking about the opportunities that he didn't get, and what would be nice for him is not to talk about those, because he was in those spaces to have an opportunity in the first place. But when he does get his goal, let's celebrate that goal that he scored, because he's going to win us games more than he loses us games, isn't he, really?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And I think what you're talking about, that you need to show him a bit of love. I think that's exactly what Emery was doing by giving him the 90 minutes last night. I thought it was a bit odd that John Duran didn't see any minutes for 2 reasons. I thought we've got so many games coming up. I thought he would just want to get Duran or give Watkins a bit of a rest, and also after 3 games out, I thought he'd be wanting to try and get John Duran up to match speed like pretty quickly. But I think that just basically all it came down to. I think that was just to give Ollie a bit of a pat in the back. You know what I mean? That's what it looked like.
Work, doesn't he? Though, like Ollie does a lot of hard work.
Yeah, 100%. I would never question his work rate. He never shies away. He never hides.
Yeah, he's always running and in good positions, and he's always seems to get in those positions where if a defender makes a mistake, he can be onto it straight away, like he did for the Ashley Young one. And you've seen that a few times in the season where a defender makes a mistake or passes the ball wrong way, and Ollie's already in there or chasing down the goalkeeper or something. And that, I don't think John Duran does that as much. But Ollie doing all that hard work, he deserves to stay on. He deserves to get his goal, for sure.
The season hasn't been a bad season, but we probably haven't hit the heights that we did last season, bar a couple of big games here and there against Munich and City and whatever. But the one thing that's really impressed me this year is the team spirit. It seems really high. even when Bailey scored there a couple of weeks ago, you could see the team were genuinely delighted from same Ollie last just like this morning there when he scored. Like, we were talking a couple of weeks ago that like Rodgers and Durant seemed to have a bit more of a camaraderie between them, but like you can see a lot more in Rodgers and Watkins now. Rodgers was absolutely delighted for Watkins when he scored. So that's good. I think the team spirit, and that gets you through a lot, and you see them all. There's videos of them Onana doing a fake press conference with Kamara on the bus on the way home for his man of the match award and stuff. So there's actually a good team spirit there, and that gets you a long way too. Villa, that wasn't always the case over the years either. So
they're a good group though, but they're a really good group of players. We got some good young players. There's a really good team spirit. You can see it in that video, for example, that you talked about with Onana doing the interview for the man in the match for Kamara. But even on the pitch, when someone scores, you can see that they all huddle around each other. They've got a belief together that they can do things. They're staying strong together, and that's also testament to all the coaching staff, not just Unai Emery, but all the rest of the coaching staff. There's a really good spirit amongst those boys, and they believe in themselves. And I'm pretty sure they would have liked to have had a few more victories away from home. But sometimes you have those sort of lulls, don't you, where you can't buy a win. But they've stuck together, and it's paying off, and you can see that they're working really hard for each other.
Like, you can to come into the second half of the season almost 1 foot in the knockouts of the Champions League and still within three points of the top four or whatever it is, without actually playing fantastically consistently. We've had fantastic games, as we said, but not consistently. That's huge, because we know they can step up the levels and get back to a level. So maybe it's going to turn around this year. Like last season, we had the really good first half of the season, and we went 15 games undefeated and at home between the end of the season before and the start of the season. And second half was kind of sluggish. If they flip that and have a really good second half of the season, though, like the top four is well manageable.
Yeah, I think so. We're not far away from the Chelseas and the Newcastles of this world. Newcastle are where they are because they've had a really good run of victories, but we're still in and amongst it. I think we're like 3 points off, maybe Chelsea or someone like that.
I think it's three off Newcastle and 2 off Chelsea. Yeah, so we're 3 points off top four.
So we're still in there and in mix. And if we have a really good second half of the season, we will be competing with those teams up there, I believe.
There's a lot to be said too. I mean, like, I've talked to a lot of people there. Like, a good friend of mine, particularly, Pat, a big listener to the pod, but he said he's not enjoying watching us play at the moment. Like, that he actually finds the games pretty boring. Most weeks. And he said it's not the playing out the back that bothers him, but it's that lack of impetus getting the ball forward. And I do agree with him in certain instances. Like, I do know where he's coming from. He said compared to last year, where we were rapid, you get the ball forward fast. And I think that's probably where Diaby's been lost. So hopefully when Daniel Malin comes in, he's going to offer that pace up front. But I also was saying to my mate that for me as well, I think that's I think that's something that's been by design. I think Emery is very cautious of that first half of the season, having so many games, 8 in the Champions League, and then all the league games coming so thick and fast. That Newcastle being a very good example last year, where they put all their eggs in the basket and their league form dipped massively because of the Champions League, and before they knew it, they were out of the group stages, and then they were never able to regain that league campaign, and they missed out in Europe completely for the year after the Champions League. And I think Emery is playing energy reserving football at the moment, and I genuinely do think he will release them at some point. Like, we've had flashes of it against City. I know I keep reverting to that City game, but it's probably the best performance we've had from an attacking point of view this season. But yeah, so I do think it is by design that we're playing this slow-paced football. With means
trying to be difficult to beat. I think if you're not in the best form, what you don't want to do is get beat, and you try to play well enough to make sure that you're not going to lose games, but you're still within the game, even if it's a tight game and you're not really playing with the most flair. You just don't want to get beat. But then when you do have an opportunity, you want to try and take that opportunity when you can. It seems to me that we've slowed down the play a lot, especially in the final third. Just an example, before we talk about the Rodgers the Rodgers shot on target, we talked about Ollie Watkins probably playing better when he's running onto the ball, when he's got a bit of space to run onto the ball, and I think we saw that this morning, didn't we? Or for the other guys, it would be yesterday. But this morning we saw that when Rodgers fed him the ball, he's running onto the ball. And he seems to be clinical at that moment. When he's running onto the ball, he's got time to look up and he placed the shot in the back of the net. Yeah. That's where I think Ollie plays his best, when he's got something to run onto. But if it's more stagnant and we're passing around the box and, he's got it with his back to goal and trying to turn, I think he finds that more difficult, or it looks to me as though he finds it a little bit more difficult to turn and get a shot off or a snapshot.
Yeah.
But when he's running onto it, he seems like he's got full of confidence and he knows exactly what he's going to do and where he's going to bury the ball.
Yeah, because he's not a Chris Wood. He's not going to tussle with the centre half and find space. Ollie runs into space. Now, he's quite a strong runner with the ball at his feet, in fairness to him. But his movement definitely is about finding space and hurting teams. He's not he's not overly physical as a striker. So, I'd imagine that slow football, he becomes a lot easier for a defender to mark. But the prime example is when Rodgers picks up the ball and the first thing he does, drives and finds that space for Ollie, and he puts it in the net. So we were doing that a lot more last year when you had Diaby, Watkins and JJ a lot of the time or Bailey would come in the odd time, or McGinn. Yeah, and we were a lot faster getting it forward. Maybe W. Louis' movement in midfield allowed that a bit more. Kamara obviously has missed a lot of football too. He's only coming back, so they're only starting to build their team around him now again. So I do think it'll come, and I think that's Daniel Mannon's going to add that pace at times, and hopefully we can get back to that fast football. But there's no point in playing all this fast football if we're conceding at the other end, which we have been doing way too easy. We're the only team in that top half of the table that's got a minus goal difference. From a team that kept nearly 15 clean sheets 2 seasons ago, So we definitely miss Pau Torres in certain games for playing the ball forward and stuff. But I think we're going to score less goals with Torres injured, but we're going to concede less goals when Mings in there. Yeah. So it's kind of,
Well, he was brilliant for me, Tyrone Mings, in terms of things that I wanted 100%. To see. I felt like we've been missing somebody who, when that ball's being crossed in and stuff, someone to get their head on it and someone to throw their body at the ball to protect the goal. And he's been doing that. And we've got to remember, I think this is his third game in, third game in, Tyrone Mings, where he's actually starting games. Second game, no? Second game in where he's starting games, and he's just getting back to that match fitness as well. I was really pleased when we had a few offsides as well. We got a few calls for offsides because it showed that Konza and Mings were working together to try and make sure that they had that offside trap. They were bringing Kamara into it, or they were bringing Kashi into it and Luca Dean, and it seemed to be working, and we hadn't been doing that this season, and it was really nice to see a few offside calls in our favour. Also good to see Tyrone Mings just getting his head on that ball, get it out, throw your body in front of it, and I feel like we've missed that, and we don't have that with Carlos. I don't think he does all that stuff, and it makes it more difficult for people like Konza and the Luca Dinas and the Pau Torreses.
Yeah, and look, Pau Torres has a lot of defensive frailties as well, but I think there's definitely room for both Mings and Pau Torres for different roles within different games. I don't think they have to play together all the time, but for different games, for different reasons, they can start. But there's definitely positives to the both of them. And I wouldn't blame Pau Torres for points that we've dropped at all, because he's made us a lot of points too, and he's been massive in the wins over Bayern and City, and he's obviously very important in the build-up. But there is certain games that I have no doubt that if Mings was fit and firing, there's games we wouldn't have dropped points late on that we did. How many goals did we concede from crosses into the box late on in a variety of games this season? And that's what Tyrone Mings brings here, I mean, even having the two of them back in games we're going to dominate, where Pau Torres starts, and when the momentum shift comes 10 or 15 minutes, to be able to bring Tyrone Mings off the bench to defend that box for 10 or 15 minutes, running under pressure, it's going to be very good to have the two of them available. Because really, since we bought Torres, we really haven't had the two of them available at any point. A couple over the pre-season when they were just finding their feet, and then obviously he got injured in the Newcastle game with Torres on the bench. So they haven't really featured at all. And there's a reason he bought Torres and Mings was going to be starting. So he obviously had a plan for them. So hopefully we'll start to see that develop over the next couple of months. But there's definitely room for both of them in the pit. I think Ezri Konsa has to start, like in centre back. I think
He's a centre back. He's a good centre back.
And I think you can pair either of them. You can pair either of them up with him for a variety of reasons. I wouldn't say Mings has to start every game. No, I wouldn't say Torres has to start every game. I just think if you're going to go horses for courses, like if you're playing against I know Torres is obviously injured this weekend, but for me, I would play if both were available in a game against Arsenal that's going to be open. That's where you want Torres. For me personally, we seem to get more space against the bigger teams because they come out and try and hurt us. Torres had very good games against Man City this year, last year. But then when you come up against your Evertons, your Crystal Palace, that's when you need Tyrone Mings, where you're going to be physical. So it's definitely good to have those options. But obviously we don't have to worry about that for a while. But I am delighted in a way for Tyrone Mings because I do think it would have been hard for him to work his way back into this team without a bit of luck and someone else getting injured. And that's what you got to do, isn't it? Like that's football. I feel like, I mean, no one can begrudge Tyrone Mings that bit of luck of Torres or Carlos getting injured because like he's been through the ringer. Like if anyone deserves a little bit of luck like that, then he does. And now it's up to himself. And now it's up to himself.
Well. He's doing really well. I can see that he's finding his feet. There were a couple of moments, if I'm going to be honest, during the game that I just thought, like some of the passing, and the time that he was taking on the ball, and like I kind of made me a little bit nervous, but I then say to myself, look, he's just coming back. You know, he's getting his match fitness, and I think the same about Jacob Ramsey as well. I feel like he's not 100% there, but you can see that he's getting back to where he needs to be in terms of helping the team out. You know, he's getting stronger. He's putting himself around the pitch a little bit more as well. So really nice to see these boys coming back in and helping out.
That's definitely a good point because the last injury, I don't think JJ ever showed much promise between the last injury and that problem. He never really got going. So I think this comeback, he's already starting to look like he's further ahead than he was the last time he came back and broke down, if you get me. He was miles off it between the last two injuries, but this time he looks like a man. If you give him a few more games, he's going to be somewhere back to his best. And hopefully Bailey now will stand up and be counted as well. And look, with Malin coming in, and that's what happened when the last time Bailey, when Diaby came in and took his place, and it kind of sparked him into life coming off the bench. And hopefully you get that kind of reaction again. And it's just good to have options going into the second half of the season because, like, all too often last year we had to go with the same 11, 12, 13, like into a lot of games, and it got up with us in the end in the Conference League, you know. In the semi-final, but a lot of positives. I'm just so happy to have got over the line in that game. I say get over the line, but we 100% deserved the game. We deserved to win. But
100%.
The way the season has been going, Calvert-Lewin scores that. That's how it's been going for us this season. You know, like everybody seems to just get their one big chance to get in the game. They seem to be sticking away against us, so it was nice to get the clean sheet. And I'm delighted for Emi Martinez too because that's his first away clean sheet of the season. And he's done more than enough to keep clean sheets as well.
he deserves a clean sheet. I mean, I love him in the goal, and sometimes there's nothing he can do about some of the goals that we've conceded this season, and I think there've been serious defensive errors in the reason why. But you know, he's kept us in a lot of games this season, hasn't he? He's made some really decent saves this season to keep us in games. Yeah. So he deserves it, and I'm really happy for him.
Every season, there's no doubt that he's worth 10, 15 points to us minimum, you know, over the course of the season. I've no doubt about it. He made a mistake at the start of the season, and I remember saying to people, he's entitled to a mistake because he's going to win us far more points than he'll ever cost us, you know what I mean? Yeah, right. So I'm delighted for him. So hopefully they can, because that was our original back four. They used to keep a lot of clean sheets between Castilla, Konsa, Mings, and Martinez. So hopefully we start to get a few clean sheets. Just before we head off to the Arsenal game, I just wanted to check. Did you have anything else about that Everton game? Was there anything else that really stood out to you?
No. As I said before, I was just really, I didn't really enjoy the game. I didn't think it was a really great game of football or anything, but I was impressed with what we were doing work-wise. I felt like we did a really good job work-wise. We were trying hard to make sure that we kept that clean sheet. I was happy with the defensive performance, as I said. previously, I wanted to see our team start using that offside trap a lot more, because it helped us so much in previous seasons and earlier in the season. We didn't really get last season we didn't really get to see much of it this season, and teams are just breaking through us. So it was really nice to see that again. Wanted to see some really good challenges and getting stuck in and chasing the ball down, and we were doing all of that. Apart from the couple of opportunities that we didn't take, we still deserved to win the game, and so I was really happy with that.
Yeah, definitely. And there was a lot of good passages of football as well. There was a lot of good combinations, and as you touched off the work rate there, they didn't give Everton any time in the ball there for the first hour. Like every time we got it, Everton got anyway in control of the ball with men around them, and yeah, look, I think for me they just showed a desire to win. Like I think we probably the game probably could have been more comfortable, but when you're away from home like that and you dominate possession like that, you have to just say, right, that's a very good away performance. It's not an easy place to go, especially given the circumstances. David Moyes coming back, Everton's not an easy place to go. They've kept a lot of clean sheets this year. So no, I'm really happy, and we're kind of got ourselves into a position now where we can look into the new year, into the second half of the season, and kind of start looking up the table again. We were kind of starting to look a bit down towards the end of the table. Come the kind of end of November, start of December, and then obviously we pulled that big win out against Man City, and it kind of catapulted us. And then we had a draw against Brighton. We started picking up points to win against Brentford, and suddenly you're climbing the table. And you look how congested that table is now, and you kind of think 2 or 3 wins get you right up there, because teams are dropping points left, right, and centre. But that's going to bring me ahead to this weekend, Tess, because Arsenal, for me, I don't think they've been at their best recently, right? But they're picking up results. Like they're doing the business. They're just ticking along nicely. They're getting the wins they need. What do you make of this game coming in on Saturday evening? It'll obviously be Sunday morning for us. But what's your thoughts going into it? And have you seen much of Arsenal lately?
I don't watch too much of Arsenal, but I do watch some of the highlights. I watched some extended highlights on Optus and stuff, and they're a good team. Yeah, they haven't really been the same. I think they badly miss Bukayo Saka. He's very instrumental to the way that they play. But good teams find a way, don't they? Really good teams, they find a way to pick up points or not to lose games. And I think Arsenal are going through that stage at the moment, because you look at Kai Havertz, he doesn't seem to be performing as well as he has done probably earlier on this season. In the first part of the season, he was performing really well. He was scoring goals. He doesn't seem like he's got that confidence at the moment. I think I watched him, was it the FA Cup game? Yeah, missed a penalty
against United, yeah.
And he had a really good opportunity during the game to score a goal, and he just doesn't quite look the same as he was before. So I don't know if he's just had a small drop off, or the weather's too cold for him at the moment, whatever it is. But he just seems to have dropped off a little bit. But then you've got all the other players that can do really well. A key player for them, for me, I think, is Thomas Partey in the middle of the field, and Declan. They just seem to be able to grab the team by the scruff of the neck, and drag them through games, and just let the attacking players go and attack. And then, of course, you've got the danger that comes from Gabriel, the defender, because he scores a lot of goals, doesn't he, for Arsenal? Really, he's one of those I think we're dying for a centre back. Like we need a centre back who can go out and score goals as well. I think that's what we're missing from our team as well. But he scores a lot of goals, and he's a very dangerous player in the box. So that's somebody we would really need to watch out for. Other than that, I think in terms of the way that we play, we normally have a really good game plan. We've done well against Arsenal in the past, and I feel like this is a really, really big opportunity for us to play Arsenal in this game. Because if we can get points from Arsenal, that's going to stand us in really good stead, I think, from where a lot of other teams might be dropping points against Arsenal. If we can grab something against Arsenal, it'll be really, really healthy for us in terms of our fight to try and sort of get those Champions League places towards the end of the season, because they beat a lot of teams, and they do have a few hiccups here and there, but we will really need to be on our game, because they are a dangerous team. but at the moment their firepower is not the best. In terms of they've got Havertz there, Gabriel Jesus is out, injured. I think
Yeah,
he's got an ACL injury. So
yeah,
we've got strikers who are scoring goals at the moment. They're on fire. We've got a midfielder who's playing quite well and starting to improve. So you've got the Kamaras of this world, you've got the Tielemans, and you've got Onana back in this side as well, starting to get a bit of form. So I think we can give them a really, really good game. Whether we can win the game or not, I'm not 100% sure. I think it will just depend on the day. But what we do need to do is we need to be brave, and we need to be organised and try and get something from this game. It's a really, really important game in terms of where we want to finish in Champions League spaces or not.
Now, I'm going to kind of contradict myself slightly here, but but there is a point. Like I said, like the way we build up and stuff. I think this game would have been better for Torres because it's for Pau Torres. Like if he was fit, because Arsenal do lose space around the pitch, and Torres is so good at passing and breaking the lines. But what I will caveat that with though is you raised the threat about Gabriel from set pieces there. That's where Mings will come into his own, and that's where we'll massively benefit from having Mings in the team this weekend. It's for Arsenal set piece threat, because Mings wins so many headers. So, yes, I would probably think overall, Torres would probably be the more beneficial to us in over the 90 minutes. But from a pure defensive point of view, I think Mings in there is going to be massive help just clearing headers, because Arsenal offer massive threats. Not just Gabriel, or Saliba is very good. Declan Rice is obviously a big man. They have a lot of height. Havertz is obviously a big man, so they have a lot of height in their set pieces. Like you can see why they score a lot of set pieces. So I think from that kind of angle, it will be good to have Mings back in for that capacity for this game as well.
We don't want to give away corners. We want to try and avoid corners and those types of set pieces if we can in that game. It'll be something that Emery will be saying to the players, that we don't want to be giving them set pieces. We don't want to be giving them corners regularly, because they are quite dangerous from their set pieces. I think they've scored a lot of goals from set pieces.
A lot, yeah. You can't be giving away silly free kicks around the box. You just can't. What I do like about playing Arsenal though is, as I said, they are confident, and they're much more, bar the odd time they set up against City. Arsenal typically go out to win the game, as in like they don't set up for how the opposition are going to be. They just come out and play their own game. I think that will suit us, because it means that they will leave spaces around the pitch. Funnily enough, I think one of our best performances of the season actually came in the loss at Villa Park to Arsenal. I thought we were excellent going forward in that game, and Morgan Rogers in that second half with the space to exploit he was just on a different level altogether, and he's very unlucky to be on the losing side. But if you're ever going to lose a game, that's how you lose it, because I thought we were brilliant, and that was early August. That's the only loss we've had at home all season in the league. And so they're going to be even more open against us at the Emirates. So if we can keep it tight at the back and not give away any silly errors and not take too many risks, I think the spaces will definitely be there to exploit them. Overall, you need your big players to turn up. You need Rodgers' ball carrying skills to be there. You need Tielemans' passes to be on point, but they can be, and but they're well capable of it. And then you're always going to have Kamara there shielding. So it's a good time. And let's not forget, we beat them home and away last season when they were absolutely flying too. Yeah, we basically cost them the league last season, because we're the only team that they lost in the second half of the season, and they lost the league by 2 points. So it's and they battered us for 80 minutes, and we just picked our time, picked our moment, and then we went and we got 2 great goals in the counter from Bailey and Watkins. Bailey and Watkins, Sorry, no, you're right. I was just going to say there should be no fear going in there, yeah.
No fear at all. And we've got to be brave against the teams like Arsenal as well. We need to remember where we are. We're fighting to get those Champions League spaces. Liverpool have been far and away the best team. Arsenal have dropped points where you wouldn't expect them to have dropped points. They'll be coming against us. The onus is on them. They're at home, and it's for us to go there and try and get something from them. But we're going to play teams like this in the Champions League. We're going to be playing strong teams in the Champions League, and we should be up for this challenge. And I think we can definitely go out there and get a result against them. I don't know. Look, if you ask me now, I'd say as long as we don't lose the game, I'm happy. If we can take a point from a team like Arsenal, I'd be happy with that, to be honest with you, because a lot of teams are dropping points against Arsenal. They're losing games against Arsenal. And if we can go there and sneak a victory or get a draw, I'd take that. I'd be happy with that.
Oh yeah, 100% Des. I'd have to agree with you. I'd gladly take a point at the Emirates, but I also think that we could go there and beat them. But you'd happily take a point and shake hands and walk away. But yeah, I don't know. I just have a little sneaking suspicion we're going to beat them. I don't know why. Yeah. I do. Yeah, it's I just think it's the kind of game.
We're turning a page at the moment. No, like the victory away from home against Everton would have given the players a bit of confidence. That clean sheet would have given us a bit more confidence there, and there'll be players itching to play. I genuinely think there'll be changes for the Arsenal game. I don't think the lineup that came against Everton today, all of those players will begin the game against Arsenal.
Yeah, and that's good. That's a good segue now, because I was just about to move into your predicted lineup. So that's so looking at like obviously Arsenal's strengths and stuff. Like I'm going to ask you kind of a bit of a mix of the team that you think will start and the team you think should start, because there is a difference between what will start and what we probably think should start. You know. Yeah. So, I mean, Olsen in goal, obviously.
I can just see that, and then we can see it in like 5 minutes. That shouldn't be so horrible. I find it difficult to watch Olsen in goal, but you know, he played the other day and we had a victory against West Ham. So fair play to him. I can see Martinez obviously going to be in goal. What I don't want to see is Konza at right back. So I think Cash will play, and Cash will play right back. Konza and Mings. I think Luca Dean starts the game.
Yeah.
Maatsen will make an appearance though. I think Ramsey plays. I think Kamara, Onana, Bailey, Tielemans, and Ollie will.
I hope you can bring 12 players.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think. I'm just trying to debate whether actually Ollie starts or Duran starts.
Yeah, you forgot Rodgers there though.
Oh,
that was the 12th man I was talking about. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh well, Rodgers plays. Sorry, so I don't know who instead then. I think Ollie starts the game.
Yeah, I do.
Ollie starts the game. Yeah, and obviously Rodgers. So not too many changes. Really difficult one, because I just, in the back of my mind, I feel like he's going to make a few changes because some players didn't get minutes against Everton, and I'm thinking that he might be trying to save those players for energy against Arsenal. We're going to need the energy, high levels.
Yeah. No, I think that's a pretty good observation, but I actually kind of think that the same team is going to start, and then you're going to see late on, you're going to see Duran, Bailey and Maatsen come on, and just when the game's kind of starting to lull, you're going to have 3 high-speed players coming off the bench, and he'll go try and go and win the game. I think he'll go out and try and contain the team that started this morning, to be honest. That's just my observation going away at the Emirates with the big pitch. That's what I can see happening. I think the team that started today will start again, but I think early, anywhere from like the 55th to the 70th minute, you'll see at some point you'll see Maatsen, Bailey and Duran all come on. Doesn't have to be all together. You might see Duran come on first and then you'll see a double switch later, but I do see at some point you're going to see Maatsen, Bailey and Duran on the pitch together, maybe for the last 15 minutes.
No Marlon debut. Well, we get 5 subs, don't we? So
you get 5, yeah. We get 9 subs. I get to use 5, but unless you rest JJ, Bailey starts and Mallin's on the bench, but I don't think he's going to throw Mallin into a game like this personally, to be honest. I think
you don't reckon, first. Not even okay.
No, I think it'll be Bailey. I think JJ will probably start the game and then Bailey come on. That's just my opinion. I think it'll be the same starting lineup as this morning. But we will see more changes throughout the game. That's just my opinion. I don't think we see Emi Buendia in this game personally.
No.
And if we do, it'll be 5 minutes or whatever. But so I know when he came on this morning as well, just to give a bit of a mention for that. So, yeah, I think that's
it's still a good team, though, isn't it? Like it's still a good,
very good team.
I'm thinking about it. It's still a very good team, and in terms of consistency, you kind of think, well, you know, they did a really good job against Everton. They're starting to get a bit of momentum together. They're playing really nicely together. Rodgers is assisting Watkins.
Yeah.
The game before that, Watkins and Rodgers are combining to score goals as well. And
definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, I have no problem with that team starting, to be honest. I think it's it'll probably be a more solid team, because I think you're going to get more work rate out of the players than Bailey. I think Bailey would be more suited to the last 20 minutes when you're pushing on and going for the game, where he's not really expected too many defensive responsibilities. This is where we've seen Bailey kind of improve last year, was when he started coming off the bench and kind of made himself unplayable after a while. So hopefully we see something similar to that.
Bailey will also need to help Cash, because I think Martinelli or one of those two plays on. I think it's Martinelli
on the left.
Probably plays.
They both play on the left. Yeah, it's just whichever one he starts. Yeah.
Yeah. So and yeah, sometimes Martinelli or Trossard goes inside, doesn't he? Play sort of.
Yeah.
And so so and they create a lot of chances, and so we want to be mindful that we're just not giving them a free run at Cash by himself, and they're doubling up on him and stuff. So yeah, but look, I hope I wasn't sounding negative there, but yeah, look, it's
not at all. It
sounds like it's going to be a really interesting game. I'm really looking forward to it, and I'll be up for it. Like I'll be up waiting to watch this game and be like full of adrenaline, waiting to see how the boys perform. And I 100% believe they can do something against Arsenal. Got to.
Good man. Now, for the listeners, I must say I got up at 3:10 a.m. this morning to watch this game. So, and then I had a 41-degree heat day at work, so I'm pretty shattered now. So, we're going to take an old prediction off of Tes, and we'll probably wrap it up there until our review Sunday. So, Tes, I want scores and goal scorers, please, for the game.
John Duran to score, and I think it's going to be 2-2. I think we're going to get a draw in this one. I'd like to say we're going to win the game, but I don't know, something's niggling me, and so I'm going for a 2-2 draw. We get something from the game. Duran to score the goal, one of the goals, and Rodgers and Duran will score goals. That's
Nice.
who I'm going to go with.
I'm going to go 1-0, and I'm going to say Bailey's going to score off the bench.
Oh,
late winner.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hey,
I do. I genuinely
how
think
much is that at the bookies? How much is that at the bookies?
I'll tell you tomorrow. Yes, for the listeners on Spotify and Apple, where can they follow the podcast? For the ones not watching, or just for the ones listening.
Yeah, so make sure you've got your notifications on for Spotify and also for Apple. Sometimes we actually put the video version of the podcast on Spotify, because we can do that now. And on Apple, you can find us at the Villa Pride Down Under podcast. Also on the socials, if you look down the bottom of the screen, just down there, you can follow us on Instagram at Villa Pride Down Under and at Pride Down Under on X. We need to create a Blue Sky link, because Blue Sky is something that I've been using quite frequently lately, which is one of the more modern social media platforms, a little bit similar to X. So I'll create one of our handles on there as well.
Fantastic. And again, as we always say to the viewers and listeners, if you enjoy it, just hit the like, hit the follow, repost for us, because it does, even hitting the like button, you don't know how much that helps the podcast get the algorithms and get circulated for us. So if you enjoy the podcast, that's it. It doesn't cost you anything. That's all we ask from you. We don't ask for money, we don't ask for anything. All we ask is you just give that little thing in the corner a little tick for us, and that's all. Because we enjoy doing this, and we're going to be back regularly now. And we're looking forward to the second half of the season. We should be back probably Sunday, Tess, with a review of the Arsenal game, a winning review of the Arsenal game.
Winning review, but without a loss, let's say we're not going to lose the game, and we'll be back to discuss it in full. So I'm looking forward to that too.
Yeah. Just lost you there for a moment, Tess. So yeah, look, we'll wrap it up there, and yeah, we'll just wrap it up with an old up the villa. We'll see you Sunday.
Up the villa, mate.